infrastructure. A candid look at whether public purpose.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Arunish Chawla with us, Secretary DPAM. Sir, the last time you addressed our BT audience was around budget early this year, and the discussions were more on the front of decoding disinvestment strategy. 6 months ahead, a lot has happened, global headwinds around. Do you still see that confidence with investors when it comes to executing big ticket sales?
Yes, very much. We had anticipated this at the beginning of the year. I would not say in precisely what the headwinds would be or what the exact details of the geopolitical turmoil would be. But broadly, we did anticipate and expect this at the beginning of the year. And we had started working on this, a strategy to make our economy and our stakeholders resilient. And to give you just a broad indication, we started monitoring the capex of public enterprises right from the beginning of the year. And every month, we breathe down their neck, collect precise data. And the last report that I have, which is end July, our PSUs have already achieved 29% of their yearly target, already in the first 4 months. And as you know, the public enterprises have done as well as the private sector, almost in tandem. And they together will take it forward. They will together will build the Indian dream. And as you know, they distributed record dividends in the last financial year. They account for now almost 15% of the total market cap and distribute 25% of the dividend incomes. And that is why the minority stakeholders and investors have a faith in them.
So going forward with Karishma's question, sir, when we look at the apart from the short term, when we look at the medium term, the long term, what is the kind of strategy that we are going to look at disinvestment? Are like listings and follow-on offers, are they on the back burner? Will we look more at PSUs from the sense of nurturing them, dividends, capex, or will we also see further listings going ahead?
To the middle part of your question, absolutely not. We will be pursuing a composite strategy which rests on 4 pillars: corporate performance, fair dividends, sustainable capex, and calibrated disinvestment. Each one of those words is significant. We monitor corporate performance in all its dimensions, as financial experts know. We pursue a fair dividend policy. Discretion versus the rule is the big question. And that's often the debate between the traders and the investors. But when you adopt a fair dividend policy, you, to an extent, de-risk the market for investors, and public stocks, which give you sustainable fair dividends, in a way act like hedge stocks. Sustainable capex, as you know, in the budget that Honorable Finance Minister placed on the floor of the Parliament, you know, we have an ambitious capex target this year, of which the public undertakings and the public bodies which invest in infrastructure are a very significant part. And that is pursued in the right earnest. And last but not the least, the disinvestment is also a composite strategy. It could be offer for sale, it could be public offerings, it could be a strategic disinvestment. All of these will be pursued in accordance with the policy that was framed in 2021, which essentially means that certain strategic sectors, the public presence must remain because of the public trust doctrine, and for ensuring national security and ensuring the economy is not starved of the critical inputs that it needs. At the same time, we encourage private sector, we facilitate private sector, we help them grow, occupy greater space in the non-strategic sectors. And when I say so, you should look at disinvestment and closure of public enterprises with the same lens. They look different at a micro level, but in the general equilibrium, together they create greater space for the private sector. And that is what we encourage.
So when we started this conversation, you said that it was in the beginning of the year you had predicted of some geopolitical turns or per se global headwinds. Had you also predicted how bumpy or smooth the ride for IDBI disinvestment will be?
I chose my words carefully, and I would not overclaim. The details, of course, were not known at that time, but we did prepare ourselves. We did prepare the entire department, and we also prepared our partners, which is the public enterprises, to be able to ride that shock comfortably. And you will see that this will pay off.
So I'm glad we spoke about IDBI Bank, because my next question and one of the reforms you suggested in the magazine is also having a clear-cut policy on disinvestment and strategic sales. So when we talk about strategic sales, what is next after IDBI Bank? Has the government put any thought on this?
Yes, but not every transaction detail can be given out before the time it is mature. Of course, we are focused on the IDBI Bank because it's going to be the largest disinvestment so far, and it will energize the banking sector. And as you know, as we move towards being a 5 trillion economy, and in the future, a 10 trillion and so on, the banking sector needs to be energized. And the IDBI disinvestment will be a firm and strong step in that direction.
As Finance Ministry correspondents that both me and Surbi are, we have been, it's been reiterated across that how government was once upon a time strongly saying and advocating for the fact that government should not be in the business of doing business. Has there been a subtle and a sweet transition from that to now focusing on rather strengthening the market cap of PSUs rather than just selling stake?
You see, policies, economic policies evolve with continuity. There is no contradiction between them. When we say government should not be in the business of doing business, it essentially means that government should create space in areas where it should not be present, which are non-strategic, and where the private sector can successfully prosper and grow and take the economy forward. That has got no contradiction with the fact that in areas where public goods are to be delivered, public services are to be delivered, and in areas where the supply chains have critical inputs which need to be sustained and maintained, the role of the public and the private sector is complementary.
So let me also ask you a kind of critical and often thorny question. So corporate governance in listed PSUs, that's an issue. A lot of times we've seen it's a challenge for private investors and, experts. So how are you planning to tackle that? Because that's a very key part of listing and making these companies stronger.
Fair and honest selection of corporate leadership. Our government has made the entire selection process efficient and foolproof and free from interference. The public sector corporate leaders are today the best in the world. And I need not say it myself. The proof of the pudding is that now the private sector is hiring the former PSU corporate leaders and putting them in prominent positions. And that's for you to notice.
So Air India was one big ticket sale that we had seen in the past few years. IDBI is something we're hoping that will be executed within this financial year. I'll let you answer that too. What next after IDBI? Do you have a stronger pipeline that you are looking at?
Yes, but I would not like to divulge market-sensitive information before it is due. You will come to hear it in the right time.
But you will be looking at a LIC, FPO at least in the coming months as per the norms because there's a timeline to it.
Absolutely.
So on that thought and on that note, we look to more adventurous and exciting follow-on public sector issues coming up. And thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chawla. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I please request you to stay back, sir? And may I request Mr. Siddharth Basu Chatterjee to please come up on stage and present a token of appreciation to our guest. Let us pose for a photo op. A warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Arunish Chawla, Secretary DIPAM.